Where to all brothers and sisters, welcome back to Haiku. I do, and even in the new year, man, we're still doing it for hip hop. So yeah, shout out to everyone who watches the channel. Shout out to everyone who subscribes. And yeah, man, we're still gonna keep doing this thing for lyricism, for the love of hip hop. I mean, what else is there, you know? So in today's video, we're going to look at a freestyle by AKA. Now, anyone who knows me knows that I'm like a huge AKA fan. I think he's got one of the most interesting catalogs in South African hip hop music. If not the most, right? But even I, as a fan, I know that AKA is not really like a hardcore rapper. He's not like hardcore with the bars and the punchlines. But something that he does manage to do very well is that he's very good at referencing. He's very good at storytelling. So I think that's basically something that he's actually very good at. So yeah, without wasting any more time, man, let's just jump straight into the video and see what AKA's got in store for us.
This is Supervision Control. Miss me with your hidden agenda, Instagram influence. If I spit on this beat, it's gonna be vitamin big deep. You ain't even skin deep, my shit I love that.
Whoa, that's hectic. If I spit on this beat, it's gonna be like vitamin B.D. You're not even skin deep, my shit is aloe vera. So you get vitamin D from the sun. Well, if not through supplements, you get it from the sun. And then when it hits your skin, when the sun hits your skin, it actually generates, vitamin D. So what he's saying is that, him spitting on a beat is basically like the sun hitting on your skin, right? It goes underneath your skin. Most rappers are not even skin deep. His shit is aloe vera. And we know aloe vera, it's there to moisturize and soothe the skin. So he's just making that comparison to say his music, it goes under people's skins, while most rappers are not even skin deep because his shit is like aloe vera.
On this beat, it's gonna be vitamin big deep. You ain't even skin deep, my shit I love that. Cry me you river while you busy investing. You dripping your necklace, super mega stretch. Stacking my cheddar, very busy financing. All my business connections, Stellenbosch is my sector.
So while most rappers are focused on their chains and their necklaces, the super mega was stretching, staking his cheddar, focusing on his business connections. And he's got quite a few. He had a very good deal with Reebok. They had a good run with the apparel, also with the sneakers. I think he had his own brand of sneakers with Reebok that he says apparently the reason they fell out it's because they were siphoning some of his money. I don't exactly know what happened there. But he also has another good deal with Cruise Vodka, where he's got his own flavor, which is watermelon and the banana flavor. Very nice. And the other one is, I think last year, he actually bought a restaurant in Moses Mabhida. I think he's got a nice restaurant there called, what's it called? Cuban Black, I think. So yeah, when it comes to business connections and staking up his cheddar, the Super Mega's been doing well. But when he says something about Stellenbosch,
my cheddar, very busy financing. All my business connections, Stellenbosch is my sector.
Stellenbosch is his sector. I don't know what he's referring to there because as far as I know, Stellenbosch is for wine. So if you've got some winery or some brand that's got to do with the wine, then you can talk about Stellenbosch. I don't know any other business anyone would have in Stellenbosch, but
in my cheddar, very busy financing. All my business connections, Stellenbosch is my sector. I got different perspective. Watermelon did 10 times, but they are projected, so my energy is bigger than Texas.
Of course, that watermelon with the Cruise Vodka deal, that did it's still doing well, even now. So he says it did 10 times more than what they had projected. So his energy is bigger than Texas. Now there's a huge concert called SXSW, which I think is short for South by Southwest. Yes. It happened in Texas. I don't know if it's still happening now, but I remember there was a time where AKA, I think Kulichana and also KO were actually booked at that concert. It's like a huge concert in Texas. So I know that he went there and a few of other South African rap artist. So I think that's what he's referring to when he says his energy is bigger than Texas, because he went there and he killed his performance like he always does.
Watermelon did 10 times, but they are projected, so my energy is bigger than Texas. The only guarantee is death in your taxes. I'm feeling like Chun-Li. I'm on the bonus level, about to fuck up a Lexus.
Yeah, that's a Street Fighter reference right there. I'm feeling like Chun-Li. I'm on the bonus level, but to fuck up a Lexus, right? So if you've ever played the arcade game Street Fighter, you know that out of all the fighters that are there that you can select, when you go to the bonus level where they give you a car, which is a Lexus, it's a Toyota Lexus LS400, I think. So you have to destroy that car within a certain period of time. And anyone who's played Street Fighter knows that out of all the fighters, the person who can destroy that car the quickest is actually Chun-Li. There's this move she does with the like a kick. Like, it's the quickest way to fuck up the Lexus in that game. So he's basically comparing himself to the Chun-Li in Street Fighter, to say in hip hop he's the one who knows how to fuck up things the quickest, basically. Comparing himself to Chun-Li in the actual video game.
I'm feeling like Chun-Li. I'm on the bonus level, about to fuck up a Lexus. I'm from the ever way to rent to buy you some mixed sweets. Only regret is that I never got to meet with Mandela. If I did, I would've spit a cappella. Instead of meeting with the cornrow David Beckham, he would've said, "Can I Jerry fuck you a legend?" He would've said, "This remind me of the time that I met Michael Jackson, but your energy's too much for Santa." Perfect.
Now you see those lines there, right?
Back. If I did, I would've spit a cappella.
Oh, he says he wishes that his only regret is that he never got to meet with Mandela, because if he did, he would have spit a cappella instead of meeting with the cornrows David Beckham. So there was a time where David Beckham actually came into our country, South Africa, because he was, I think at the time, he had just acquired some shares in this whiskey brand called Hague Clubman or something. It's in a blue bottle. So I think after he actually got I think some shares in there, he came to South Africa to try and promote the brand. And a lot of South African celebrities at the time were flocking to meet David Beckham, because he was still like the David Beckham at the time, with that with the cornrows and everything. So he says his only regret is that he actually went to meet David Beckham instead of meeting with Mandela, because he feels like if he had met Mandela, Nelson Mandela would have said, "Kina Jared Fobe, you're a legend," right? And that would have reminded Mandela of the time when he met with Michael Jackson. I think that's what he said.
Instead of meeting with the cornrow David Beckham, he would have said, "Can I Jared Fobe, you a legend?" He would have said, "This remind me of the time that I met Michael Jackson, but your energy's too much for Santa."
Yeah. So it would have reminded Mandela of the time when he met Michael Jackson, when Michael Jackson also came into the country to meet Mandela, and he actually went to Sandton. And I remember when he was in Sandton, it got so crazy. White people with Michael Jackson, like it was crazy that they had to close down the entire Sandton because there were so many people rushing to Sandton just because they wanted to actually see Michael Jackson. So it was like a nightmare. It was like a stampede there. So AKA is saying that both our energies is too much for Sandton. So he thinks he can fuck up Sandton the same way that Michael Jackson fucked up Sandton, which is, it's a bit of an overreach now, even for AKA.
This remind me of the time that I met Michael Jackson, but your energy's too much for Santa. Perfect. Plaques on my back, imagine 5 faces, everyone black. That shit don't really mean jack. It used to mean something, now it's just cat.
That is true though. Like, there was a time where AKA used to get all worked up about awards and platinum platinum selling and stuff like that. But it used to mean something at first, but now for him it's just like cap. It's like it's whatever. He just makes music just because he loves making music, not for the accolades.
Miss me with the explore page. Instagram fuck up your relationship. Touche. I know I made a lot of mistakes. I had a gig on the same day, lend them keys, it climbed up the stairway. had to be a fish eagle before all the white people put their faith in a AKA.
Now he says he had a gig the same day that Linda Mkhize climbed up the stairway. So Linda Mkhize is ProKid, the prolific rapper. I mean, if you don't know ProKid, you don't know South African hip hop, basically. So he says he had the same gig on that day, and I mean I understand how he would feel about that because ProKid actually played a very important role in AKA's career because when AKA started rapping, he was with that group called Entity, and they were they had weird accents, trying to be American sounding and everything. And when he left the group to join the production group called Ivy League, the person who actually put them on the map was ProKid. So he spent a lot of time, producing music for ProKid. And if there's one thing that he learned, according to him, from ProKid, was that he learned how to, even if you're rapping in English, how do you make your sound connect? So how do you localize your sound while you're actually rapping in English? And if you've listened to AKA, you realize that he's one of the few rappers who's able to rap in English, but still be able to have that local feel in his sound. And he says that's something that he actually learned a lot from ProKid, because the whole group called Ivy League actually got popular because of ProKid. ProKid was one of those rappers, when he gets on a song that you produce, he'll always shout you out at the beginning of the song to say, Ivy League produced this, I'm on production. So that's how people started to say, hey, who's Ivy League? Who's Ivy League? And then they ended up working with people like Kuli Chana as well. They produced for Kuli Chana, WHP as well. So that influence allowed AKA to learn how to localize his sound and stop with that American bullshit that he was trying to do with Entity. And, so that is like a huge impact for him, for him to say that, to even mention it that, on the day that Linda Mkhize climbed up the stairway, which means, he actually passed away. And he says there had to be a fish eagle before all the white people put their faith in an AKA, because ProKid was the first rapper, I think, to get a deal with the alcohol brand with Fish Eagle. ProKid had a deal with Fish Eagle. I remember he had like a huge poster by OR Tambo. They had like a huge poster there with ProKid. So he says, ProKid being the first rapper to get such a huge deal with the alcohol brand, it opened doors for a lot of other South African rappers as well. Like if you look now, like almost every South African rapper either has their own alcohol brand or have got a deal with an existing brand.
To be a fish eagle before all the white people put their faith in a AKA. To this day, niggas swear J.R. congratulate.
Hey, who wouldn't believe that J.R. would congratulate? Anyone who listens to AKA as much as I do will know that if you look at his first albums up until Touch My Blood, all those albums either had JR as a feature or on production, or he was in studio when the music was being made. So all those albums are classic up until Touch My Blood, right? Now after that, Bovamania, hey, that album is lukewarm if you ask me, right? So there's no JR there. And then I'm not even going to talk about his collaboration with Costa Titch now. That sound is it's something else, but there could be some truth to say, maybe JR did do some bit of ghostwriting for AKA. Who knows? I mean, we all know that JR is like a musical genius. He's one of the most musical artists that we actually have in this country.
To this day, niggas swear J.R. congratulate. When I pulled up at the club, he was just in his pajamas. That was the first time I seen the bottle of Ace. Yes.
That's JR for you. JR used to be a baller. Like, he used to be that guy. I think there was a time where he went around looking for artists to sign, and he actually discovered quite a few. He discovered MT at a club in Monte Cassino called, what's that club called? Kantara or something like that. So JR was one of the first, the people who actually discovered MT, and a couple of other artists as well. So I can imagine to say, AKA's first time at a club was when he actually met JR and he had a bottle of Ace, because at the time, JR was balling.
That was the first time I seen the bottle of Ace. Yes. Around the same time, Sean Page give me my first taste. That's why I learned if you strike first, they don't want no flame.
The first time that Sean Pages. So Sean Pages is this rapper. I think he was part of a group called the Glitz Gang. And Sean Pages is the only rapper I know who's more famous for slapping another rapper than he is famous for his own music. Because the first time I heard about Sean Pages was because he slapped AKA in a club, as he's saying here. That around the same time Sean Page gave me my first taste. I don't even know what that argument was about, but I know that Sean Pages was a rapper who actually slapped AKA in a club. And then that gave AKA the thing to say, if you strike first, they don't want no flames. So AKA did the same thing to Casper. I don't know where. I think they were also in a club as well when AKA actually slapped Casper. So he said he learned from being slapped himself that if you strike a nigga first, they don't want no flames. So attack is basically the best defense.
Me my first taste. That's why I learned if you strike first, they don't want no flame. I don't want no handshakes, no plus ones, no nicknames. Pardon me, I don't remember your face. No entourage, no Vinny Chase.
No Entourage, no Vinny Chase. So Entourage is a series. I've never watched the series, but I know that there's a series that a lot of people used to like talking about. I'm not sure if it's still on now. And the lead actor there, his name is Vinny Chase. So he's saying he doesn't do entourages anymore, doesn't do no Vinny Chases. And you can understand why, if you look at that whole business that he had with his then partner, who they fell out over business deals and people stealing money. It was like a whole story there. So he says he doesn't do entourages now. He doesn't do the whole crew thing. No Vinny Chase.
I don't want no confusion. You think you know me cause you know all my music. I need you to relax and sit back and consume it. Are you not entertained when I lose it?
Are you not entertained when I lose it? So that line, are you not entertained? It's from that movie, The Gladiators, I think. Yeah, I think it's from Gladiators, where it's like, are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? So we know that AKA watches a lot of those stuff, like Gladiator. He's also a huge fan of wrestling, so he likes that kind of stuff. Actually, the album Bovamania, he actually took the idea from WrestleMania, right? WrestleMania, Bova, because he's the King Bova. So that's where he got the title of that album. So I know that he's a huge fan of things like gladiators and wrestling and people fighting and stuff like that. But yeah, anyway, that is it for this reaction. Yeah, like I said, man, AKA is he's a legend in the South African hip hop game. The catalog speaks for itself. So I really hope that he still does a lot of more dope music. For us, his live performances are something you really have to watch. He's got a really dope band. But yeah, that's it from me. And remember, take care of your mental and peace and love.